Walter Bedeker is a healthy man. He's also a fortunate one. Walter has a doctor who makes house calls at a moment's notice as soon as he feels an itch. He has a wife who's no more than 2 steps away whenever he feels slightly insecure. But don't tell Bedeker there's nothing wrong with him, else you'll be on the receiving end of a never-ending rant about how wrong you are. Walter's deeply rooted paranoia fueled grand conspiracies about the medical, insurance, and even legal industries. No, we're not talking about today. Walter's lunatic ramblings were so absurd, it brought the devil to see for himself. This is an episode written by Rod Serling and directed by Leisen. As always, the alternative theories mentioned within may cause anxiety, rage, and disbelief, but that's why you're here, I hope. And kindly consider leaving a like, share, or subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Sit back and watch the moments of Bedeker's life where nothing seems to be wrong, but he can't get anything right. Lucky for him, his contract has an escape clause. Walter Bedeker is a paranoid hypochondriac. In other words, there's nothing physically wrong with him, but he's a whiny, self-absorbed individual who mouths off worldly philosophy from the comfort of his bed. Somewhere, there's a patient truly needing medical help, but he or she won't get it. Walter's doctor is too busy playing magician trying to make Walter's psychosis disappear. With no comfort from his doctor or his wife, Ethel, he lays in bed suffering that the world will be without him one day, where it needs at least 500 years to appreciate him. Walter's rant is so absurd, it conjures an unnatural spirit with the name Cadwallader, but you may know him by other names. The devil, Mephistopheles, Beelzebub, Satan, Prince of Darkness, Lucifer. But here, he's just Cadwallader, who offers Bedeker in exchange for his soul. Walter gets immortality and impervious to harm. Walter is of course skeptical, but when he learns the world would have him for at least an unseeable future, he gets an escape clause that allows him to conjure Cadwallader one final time for a departure. With the contract signed, Cadwallader laughs and disappears. But for Bedeker, his new life has a new beginning. Being invulnerable to pain or physical damage, Walter begins an insurance scam by jumping in front of subway trains and buses. But he soon grows bored and tires of the diminishing returns with his diminishing checks. He drinks homemade solutions that taste like lemonade. Don't try this at home. He even berates his wife to come up with new ideas to excite him. Instead, Walter decides to jump off the roof of the apartment building for kicks, but Ethel stumbles and falls off the edge. Instead of being heartbroken or let's say remorseful, Walter sees an opportunity. He phones the police and takes full blame for Ethel's demise, hoping he can enjoy the chair that gives him a charge of excitement. His attorney is belligerent, but Walter thinks he knows best and looks forward to Judgment Day, where he stands before the court and hears his sentence of walking that last mile. The judge sentences Walter Bedeker to life in prison with no chance of parole. For someone who's immortal, that's a pretty long time. With Walter trapped and defeated, Cadwallader appears without invitation and asks if he wants to invoke the escape clause. Walter nods, suffers a heart attack, and falls to the ground. His debt now fully paid to society and the devil. The idiom, careful what you wish for, is too obvious with escape clause. Instead, I choose to focus on the theme of Walter not getting anything right. He's wrong about his diagnosis, the piece of paper in his wife's hand, his insurance scam doesn't go as planned, even his idea of leaping off tall buildings gets upended by Ethel. Therefore, it's no surprise that his legal strategy fell apart. Instead of trying to prolong the Earth's suffering, having him a part of it, he does the exact opposite and greatly accelerates his departure. This takes us to another oddity, the devil's name of the month, Cadwallader. Here is a supernatural, immortal entity who says,
"I've never been gone. I've been here for some time,"
yet goes by different names, very likely different appearances. Unlike Walter, who demanded to keep his presence and his appearance infinitum. In abbreviated symbolisms, Walter wanted to be everything the devil was not. If this meant the devil won in the end, Walter lost everything in the beginning. You'll find inside Mark Scott Zickery's The Twilight Zone Companion an excerpt from Daily Variety that wrote of escape clause, "Here was a little gem. Good work, Rod Serling." And I couldn't disagree more. I thought the episode was too predictable. The only sympathetic character was Edith, and she fell off the edge to the earth. I get it that we're not supposed to root for Walter, but we never got more of a hint behind Walter's egomania, other than he's a hypochondriac. The story could have gone in many imaginary directions. What if Walter tried to be a superhero or a supervillain, rather than pulling insurance fraud scams? Well, I do think Cadwallader's name was primarily an attempt to add some levity, making his character more jovial. I do think there is some deeper meaning, as stretched and subconscious as it was. But alas, Escape Clause felt like a 15-minute skit rather than a half-hour episode. It's merely one dimension out of 5. It does have a couple tropes. Tag them supernatural character and sweet, sweet irony. This is Mr. G of Synergy leaving you with these final words. When you feel a sneeze coming on, you can choose to be blessed or to make a wish too good to be true. That's the Twilight Zone. Check out other videos on the channel. Thanks for watching.